And then when Haven came around, we made a lot of mistakes on post plants, and that cost us. I think we got the bomb down like 5 or 6 times in a row. And we lost every single post plant, which definitely lost us the series.
And I believe one of the comments that he made was that whenever there's a rematch like this that happens within a tournament where neither team has had a long time to prep for the rematch, he almost always favors the loser the first time around when the rematch happens, because they sat down and they talked a lot about what went wrong in the game.
What's up everybody? In this week's video, we look at notions such as adaptation, post plants, and retakes. We look at Gen.G versus Envy on a Haven at the VCT Masters 1, where Envy, they won the first encounter 13-6 with a flawless offensive side here, while the second encounter went 13-10 for Gen.G, with Gen.G having a much better defense side this time around. And as Bummy mentioned, they lost 5 post plants in a row, Envy, and we're gonna look at how those rounds went wrong for Envy, but also how they went right for Gen.G with the adjustments that they brought in the second encounter. The first round we break down today is the 8-6 mark of the first encounter, where Envy won. So from a macro perspective, we have a 1-3-1 going on here for Envy. This is one of their go-to strats where it's gonna end up in a C split. So we have Caboose on long C alone, 3-man push garage, and FNS doing his usual shenanigans on A lobby, keeping the A players honest. On the defensive side, we have here a default defensive setup. On their side, we have Mikael and Sean on A, Huynh on B, Guimont and Kusta on C. And from a micro perspective, we're gonna have here a drone and a run it back to take the C site. So again, just like my previous video, I feel that's a great combo to do whenever you have the run it back on your side. And also we have a smoke on garage window, and when Food is gonna activate his ult here at the bottom of window, Mummy is gonna take his place and he's gonna paranoia into the site. So let's see how this unfolds. You have the drone, boom, Food is in the corner, activates around the back, boom, Mummy is in the corner, he's gonna throw his paranoia, and Guimont answers with his own paranoia, kills the ult. We have Caboose here, he's gonna jump onto the platform with one satchel and destroy the trip here with his Roomba. And he uses his second satchel to jump off of the platform and gets a double kill afterwards. It's a bit of a neat trick. The second smoke from Mummy comes onto spawn here, so the first one was in garage window, and the second one goes into spawn with a molly from Food. When it gets a bit cheeky, it's punished for it. And at this point, it's a 4v2. Post-plant situation. So Food had back site control, but clearly in the protocols of a 4v2, I guess, and a post-plant on C site, back site is not in Envy's protocols. He's gonna form a line with Crashies in just a bit. Notice also there's no flank here, and you know they have nothing to worry about if you're Envy. So there's a trip here, there's a trip here, so there's nobody flank. That's a given, and they're gonna form really good crossfires here. In terms of a post plant, all you have to think about is, am I in a position to trade a teammate? Am I in a position to, you know, swing off of a teammate? So it's all about playing trades here, especially if you're in a man advantage. If you're in a man disadvantage, it's a bit more circumstantial. But if you're in Envy's shoes here in this round, they played perfectly. They form crossfires and buddy systems. So we have 2 towards the garage side here and 2 towards long C. So long C is more of a safety net where they have vision on bomb. If somebody swings onto site, they could trade him off. And as for garage, well, if somebody drops off, Mummy gets a first fight, and if Mummy doesn't win it, well, FNS just swings and gets the trade. If somebody flanks through garage here, well, FNS gets a first fight and Mummy gets a second fight, so most likely in a trade. So they're really in good post-plant positions here. They're in a position to trade a teammate, and if they play the trades right, well, worst case scenario, usually it would go 2 for 2, so they'd win the round regardless. But actually, Gen.G is gonna decide to save their guns here, which is the right decision if you ask me. And there you go. So it's a really good execute by Envy. I do suggest using this execute in your own teams. I feel it's pretty straightforward. I feel that, you know, it's pretty simple to execute in itself. So I do suggest this strat, and also to keep in mind these notions for your post plants. let's observe the adjustments that Gen.G brought into the second encounter. So it's actually the same scoreline, 8-6 for NV, the same execute from NV, so it's the 1-3-1 into a C split, but a different defensive setup for Gen.G. For example, we see here, we have Huynh and Mikael together on A. They've been playing together since forever, since the CS days, so I feel they have lots of chemistry and it's good on them to play together. And they put Sean on the preferred side of NV. So just to note that NV from the 8-6 scoreline until the 13-6 scoreline of the previous game, they went A 0 times, which is where, you know, Sean usually played. So I feel that it's in their preference to hit the C side, but it was also in their preference to, you know, force Sean, being Gen.G's star player, into these difficult situations, retake situations, these long rotations, so really trying to negate his impact onto the game. Gen.G adjusting to that, they put him on the C side where he's gonna get more encounters, more initial duels, which is his preferred style. Let's see how Gen.G in this game, they dealt with this very execute so much better than in the previous game. We can already see with their initial positions that Gen.G have to read that this very strat is coming in, being the 1-3-1 into a C split, whereas they have two players attacking the extremity of FNS here, having a Omen Smoke, a Recon Arrow, and then walk pushing into A lobby. As for Garage, we have two players committed to it, with Long C being open with only a tripwire. As for Guimont, he's on B, yes, but I feel that his main role is to paranoia into Garage when the time is right. See how the fight itself plays out. So drone tags Sean here, he loses ground, Food gets a bit cheeky, he pushes the molly and gains the ground that Sean lost. And his intention is to get into that corner once again and activate his run it back, just like the round I showed you previously. But he gets caught up into a duel here with Sean, and he goes 1-for-1. But you can already see the benefits of having your star player more implicated on your defense here. Give Sean a duel and he'll win it. In this case, I feel that the trade is more beneficial to NV, being 1-for-1, being on the offense and whatnot, but in itself, in the grand scheme of things, you can already see the benefits of having Sean more implicated into these fights. Now we see the paranoia coming in from Guimont here. I think it's intended for FNS, who's always Garage door by this time, and that would allow Kusa having a flank onto these two Garage players. So they understand that Mame wants to go into this corner and throw his paranoia, so they want to catch a timing onto him with his back turn for Kusta. That doesn't work out as Kusta actually whiffs, but he gets the information that Tisa, Omen, Sova, and well, the tripwire spotted Caboose here on Long C. So these three players are here, but where's FNS? And by process of elimination, they know that in this strat, he's always late Garage to maintain Garage control. But Guimont understands that, and his role is to catch him, yes, but in the grand scheme of things, to enable the flank here, because these tripwires will die and they can go into Long C here. So that's his job for Guimont, and he's gonna do it successfully. Boom. So tripwires are dead. You have two players A lobby already, and they can have a fast flank onto Long C here. So really well done by Guimont, and he wins an additional duel here. And then by this time, I'm ready to call it this round's over. So Gen.G, NV are caught up in the site here. As for Gen.G, they have Garage control. They have Long C control. So advantage of manpower and also map control for Gen.G, and it's just an easy conclusion to the round here. And opposite to what I mentioned before, whereas if you're in a postplant with a man advantage, you play crossfires, you play trades. But you'll see here that NV, they're a lot more individual, which is fine, because if you're in a 2v3 low HP, you have to take risks, you have to try to catch timings, try to catch somebody lazy. That doesn't happen because, well, one, they're so unaware of this flank. I feel that FNS does a good job of staying alive and conferring to his team that, you know, there can't be a flank. In this case, he's dead and they're so unaware of it. I feel they're not used to it maybe. And this is an easy round for Gen.G by the end of it. So really good adjustments, having a barrage of bodies going into Garage, understanding the flow of the round, whereas FNS always comes into Garage, and that enables the flank. These are really good adjustments by Gen.G, and they really did their homework. The round we just witnessed was the first of 5 consecutive lost post plans for NV, as Mummy mentioned, so this is another one I wanted to dive into, whereas it's 3v4 for NV, and Gen.G, they actually already used Guimon's ult on the C lobby here, whereas it got cancelled. And they're going to use 2 more ults on the retake here. So they're going to invest 3 ults for this round. So they really want to win it and just continue their momentum here and get to 10 rounds. And I feel that the key component for the retake here is actually the camera from Kusta. So for the past 30 seconds, he hasn't even activated this camera. He just left it alive for the opportune time. And this is a lesson for ciphers out there where it's fine to just leave your camera and play retake. Whereas I feel most ciphers, they're just stuck on their camera and get info. But I feel it's even more beneficial to leave it alive for the retake. So let's move on. Re-smoke towards spawn here for Envy. And if we look on the Envy side, it's a very good choice to play this type of postplant where they have 2 points of contact with a pivot in the middle. What do I mean by that? Well, one, there's a camera, by the way, watching towards garage window. In the meantime, well, Food, he can focus on the mid flank. And these 2 players, they get contact, and FNS, he just swings on either, well, to help either player getting contact. So if there's somebody coming out of spawn, Mummy shoots him, FNS can swing. So, you know, they have 2 players fighting spawn. Or if it's towards garage, well, FNS can also help Food. It's a good choice, but it's just that they get overwhelmed by Gen.G's organization, but also utility. As I mentioned before, boom, the camera activates here from Kusta. Good thing he kept it alive. That gives so much information. It confirms that there's nobody in these areas. So Gen.G on their side, they don't even have to aim at these areas. They don't even have to aim. They don't even have to use any utility to clear these areas. This camera confirms there's nobody there. So Hunter's Fury, Paranoia, or even just aiming towards those areas is unnecessary. So that's very good information. And let's see the execute here. Paranoia comes in. Mummy is dead to rights here where there's a jet on top of him. He got paranoid. There's a Hunter's Fury. I'm very surprised actually that Guimon wins this fight and that just seals the round, by the way. I feel that if Food kills Guimon here and they have 2 garage, it's pretty winnable. But then it's just 1v4 and FNS, poor him, he gets overwhelmed here. Nice try there. Again, from my point of view, there's really nothing to be ashamed about from this round for Envy. There's no mistakes, I'd say, that I would quote. It's more so a really good retake by Gen.G, since they had the good resources for it. The last round I wanted to break down today is this one. It's a 10-8 mark. It's around right after the one that we just watched, where it's down to a 2v2 on the A side. It's gonna be a postplant situation, and this camera from Kusta, which he threw from the smoke, he confirms that there's one graffiti and one near hell. He's actually gonna tag Mame here and confirm his position in hell. So let's move on and see how this goes. Gets shock dart. It's pretty fair to say that the player that was graffiti, so Crashies, is the one planning, and there's still a player hell. And I'd say the most typical situation is a crossfire where the player hell gets contact onto players exiting this area, and the player's sight, well, he just swings on contact. Some would ask, why doesn't he go this side? Well, usually the players, they don't go on this side because it's open to heaven, since the boxes are a bit lower, and you know, you don't want to take the risk of exposing yourself to heaven. So that being said, they would prefer going this side. That's the usual crossfire, and with that knowledge, Gen.G, they break up this crossfire. So crossfire being, you'll be forced to fight 2 people at the same time, and in this situation, Gen.G, they use their utility to have 2 of their own players fight an isolated player. So let's see what I mean by that. In just a second, you'll see. So to counter the smoke here, Sean is gonna flash it, and boom, they double swing onto hell. So there's a cipher cage to disable the crosshair here. So either Crashies goes into it, makes a sound cue, doesn't see anything, or well, he just tries. He's gonna try to wrap around the cage, play ring around the Rosie here, but that's not gonna work. So you see here, they pop flash out of the smoke, they double swing on an isolated player. That's an easy kill. And Gen.G staying close to each other, having good spacing, always having an opportunity to trade. Boom, there's 2 players fighting one player of Envy at all times, thanks to great utility usage. So cage here, flash out, swing onto hell. There you go. Again, I feel that in this 2v2, Envy couldn't have played it any better. I feel that these were really good protocols and really good explosiveness by Gen.G. And there's really nothing to feel bad about if you're Envy, to be honest.
I think the loser definitely has the advantage, and I think also that they have a coach is a big advantage.
That's it for this week's video. As you can see, Gen.G brought really good adjustments in their rematch against Envy, doing their homework on NVC split, putting Sean in more prominent situations, and also having good protocols if they go onto the A site. I know it's a lot easier if you were the loser the first time around, but the lesson of the day is to be a better version of yourself in the rematch. Besides the esports side of things, I hope you've learned something from this video on postplants. Just remember, if you're more in numbers on the postplant, play crossfires and ask yourself, am I in a position to trade someone? If you're lesser in numbers, we'll try to make a play and take a risk. Otherwise, don't forget to click the thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy KARASU thanking you for watching.